1 2 1 2. Oh!
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Whoa! 1 2.
South Melbourne coach Esteban Quintas is hoping another footballing institution synonymous with blue and white can have some success themselves. South Melbourne could be premiers by the end of this weekend. They're 9 points clear, and with 3 games to play after this game against Dandenong City, they're on the verge of some more silverware. It'll be a tough test for the hosts tonight, though, with Dandenong City coming to town, and they themselves are clinging on to something of their own to hold on to. They are currently in 6th place in the NPL Men's Victoria table, and they're hoping to hold on to that for a spot in postseason football in 2024. Oliver Walker-Peel and Arthur Akratides here with you for South Melbourne and Dandenong City from a bitterly, bitterly cold Lakeside Stadium. Arthur, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Oliver, and I tell you what, it's got to be close to 5 degrees here, and up in the echelons of the grandstand it is bitterly cold, and anyone that's at this game, which there is a few still here, they need to be given a medal, because that's a great effort on their behalf. We'll go to the lineups, Oliver. Today we'll go straight to the away side. Dandenong City, John Hall, number 1, number 2, Stefan Bresovic, number 9, Kenyuk Athu, number 23, Will Boa, number 5, Jack Webster, number 13, Vali Sesnik, number 18, Thomas Giannakopoulos, number 14, Damien Liakos, number 19, James Xidas, number 17, Danny Kim, and 25, George Kambadarides. And the South Melbourne lineup for today.
It'll be Willem Lejeune in goal, wearing number 20. 3 is Jordan Lampard. 4, Marco Jankovic. 5 is Jake Marshall. Number 6, Lucas Inglese. Number 7, Andy Brennan. Number 10, Jack Pope. Number 15, Zach Spiteri. Number 16, Emil Payos. Number 22, Max Mikkel. And number 24, Nahuel Bernarda. And the top scorer for the NPL Men's Victoria is Harry Sawyer with 14. He starts tonight on the bench.
Yeah, we've got a few of the main starters on the bench today for South Melbourne, Oliver, because of that cup game midweek.
Of course, which they won over Hume City by a goal to 0, scored by Harry Sawyer, who has had quite the return back to Lakeside Stadium following spells both in India and more recently Finland.
South Melbourne try to go forward early, and today's a very important game, Oliver, for both sides, as you said, but especially for Dandenong City. They need to get a result, some sort of result here, in order to try and stay in touch with the top 6. They're in there at the moment, but as you were alerting me earlier on, we've got a big game the other side of town in Sunshine, where Melbourne Knights are playing against Altona Magic, and that is almost like a 6-pointer.
It certainly is. So the permutation surrounding this, if South Melbourne win tonight and Avondale fail to do so, South Melbourne will officially be crowned premiers for 2024 with games to spare. And from a Dandenong City point of view, they could theoretically be caught by Port Melbourne or the Melbourne Knights if they fail to win. So a throw for Dandenong City towards the former Heidelberg and Melbourne Victory man in Athu, who will try and switch the play over towards Chesnick, who starts tonight on the right-hand side for Dandenong City. Had an option on the overlap, which he elected to use in Zidius, but the cross was poor, and behind it goes. So, Vali Chesnick into the team, one of 3 changes. Danny Kim returning from suspension, and Damien Iaconis alongside Vali Chesnick, the 3 coming in. Jacob Alexander, Brady Quinn, and Timothy Atharinos, the 3 to drop out. And for South Melbourne, a pair of changes. Rob Harding and Mihailo Marinkovic drop out, with Andy Brennan and Emil Payos both recalled. That goal kick sent out of play from Willem Lejeune, former St Albans goalkeeper, of course.
Let's not forget that the man himself, Harvey Lopez, normally the number 1, is sitting on the bench for the first time in a while for a league game.
And assuming that he doesn't take the park tonight, he'll be stranded on 98 NPL Men's Victoria appearances in his career. He should still notch up the century, you would think, before the year is out. He's only on the bench and no injury, we think, as South Melbourne move it over towards the right-hand side. Here's
chance now for South Melbourne to use that big long throw of theirs. And we saw them score against Hume. The same sort of scenario. Long throw there. Pushed away. Some good defending. And the referee has blown a free kick, and rightly so. And the challenge there, a little bit heavy-handed. And looking like the wind is definitely blowing across the ground, it looks like, Oliver. It's not really favouring. Well, then I'm looking at one flag's going one way and the other flag's going the other. It's obviously swirling, probably going more to the left of screen. Yes, and that's the case because Hall's goal kick barely made it past the halfway line. As we are yet to see any action at the moment, goalmouth action. Hall playing it back, and they're trying to find an opening, and South Melbourne's allowing them to try and play the ball out and then trying to close their angles. Some newer and younger faces are playing in the team today. Pretty impressed with the last time I saw Zach Spiteri play here in the second half, where South Melbourne beat Dandy Thunder, which was a very tough game. Dandy Thunder were unlucky not to get anything from that game. And now Dandy City, who have had a good season so far under Tolios, and now they try and go forward. Oliver, what do you think? What do you think about today's machinations?
There's a lot on the line for both, isn't there, as you mentioned. Just want to clean up some homework from before. Rob Harding is out there, and it's Lucas Inglaser that has dropped out. In terms of the two outfield changes, and of course the one in goal too, so 3 all told for South Melbourne. But there is a lot on the line for both, as we mention, and we'll continue to mention right throughout the piece, I'm sure. As it's John Hall who will look long here. Intercepting was Damien Iaconis as Dandenong City look towards the left. Bauer trying to pull it back towards a few, but there's the gold medal winner from last year in the road in Jake Marshall. Had an astounding campaign last time around for South Melbourne as they finished second after the home and away campaign.
Pretty heavy loss last week, Oliver. 4-2 to Hume. Probably dented a bit of what the good work they'd done the past few weeks.
Still time to put that right, though, as it's a clever flick. Bauer down the left, kept it in play, rolled it infield, but it was initially well cut out by Jack Pope, who joined South Melbourne mid-season from the Eastern Lions. Kim Athieu, first time, couldn't find a teammate. The visitors keeping a bit of the ball here early on. Lambadarides over for Chesnick. It's rolled over for Zidius, who will try and swing one in. Harding will hook it away, only as far as Kim. It's nodded in field, and South Melbourne trying to work it clear, and Nicola adjudged to have barged over Danny Kim unfairly. It's not a decision that the South faithful were too much a fan of, in truth, but won't change things from a referee's point of view. The referee tonight is Maximilian Hanlon.
Dandenong trying to find an opening here against the wind and probably have the better of the place early on here. Chance now to go forward for South Melbourne. 1-on-1. Defender coming back to help out there, and some good work there. The referee allowed play on. Chance to get it into the box. Goalkeeper's calling, cleared away, and that's a corner. First corner of the game. And the referee, Maximilian Hanyan, in charge of today's game, has allowed play to go and a few push and shoves, but he's allowed things to go smoothly, and a chance now for South Melbourne to try and structure something here early on. The last time they met these teams, another ding-dong battle. Curling ball headed away. And a chance now. Dandenong go forward. 1-on-1. Close down again. Some good defensive work. And out for a throw. Yep.
Here at Lakeside, Pope will try and work it forwards. Well controlled by Bernarda, who gave it away. Game still goalless here at the home of South Melbourne. Sidious. Now with the former Bentley man, one of a number of players that have got a Bentley connection with Nick Tolios, as the switch of play is on for Kenny Athieu. First touch slightly too heavy and allowed Jake Marshall in to clear. So that's turned around the corner. Bernardo will give chase. And we'll get there. Looks to try and roll Bereshevic, and it's turned out to play for a throw. Just a note for the history books, Dandenong City are after their first ever away league win at South Melbourne. They came close a few years ago in the Cup in 2017 when they were somehow found on the wrong end of a 7-goal thriller that they were leading rather late, and Milos Lujic then came in to disrupt those plans. They were playing that game earlier on in the restaurant, and it was good to look back on as Mikola sends that with a long throw. Headed away by Athieu. That's sent high and away. Dandenong City step back in. Switch of play for Zidias. It's a smashing ball. Bauer in the road, though, to take him out of it was Spiteri. Max Mikola to give up a bit of ground. The lateral ball intercepted en route. It was a bit risky there from Jordan Lampard, but Damien Iaconis couldn't really get that one under control. Worth a mention too with Max Mikola and his Queensland origins. The Battle of the States was announced earlier this week that Victoria and the best players from both the NPL men's and women's will go over to Queensland and battle. Queensland fans will want mention of given the rugby league festivities during the week.
Yeah, it would be good to get the good old state of origin back and running, because I remember the old days, even as a junior. It was great stuff. It was always a great big carnival and great atmosphere and great football and great talent on show. And I know we've got an international, or should I say a national competition, but something unique in Australia where we have these special competitions as the state of origin.
As the Dandenong City medical staff are being called for here Andy Brennan is in conversation with the referee, and he's judged to have given a foul away, and he wasn't happy with that whatsoever, as you wouldn't be as a player, just to have fouled someone. Of course, if it's a line ball, call players are never happy, are they? But that's not something that Dandenong City will be too worried about. They'll be worried about the player that's down. I believe it's Jack Webster.
Can ill afford to lose him, Oliver. He's the absolute engine room in that defence. And captain.
We speak about the Dandenong City team looking to try and play postseason football and make a run. Of course, he's been a part of a team that has done just that. You mentioned James Zidius early on, and the Bentley connections there. Well, of course, it rings true also for Jack Webster as well. Of course, he scored in the grand final that Bentley won back in 2019 over Avondale at Amy Park. He's back to his feet now, though, which is a good sign for him and for his team, and I'm sure that Nick Tolios will be glad that he's not forced into an early change.
And young Sidious, I remember playing against his father, a good friend of mine, and his son's become even as good an, if not better, player than his father, which is great to see. Something that his father George would be proud of, no doubt.
It's Victorian top flight appearance number 123 for James Zidius. It's rolled all the way back.
I love how you know all these stats, Oliver. That's one thing I love about you. These stats are absolutely marvellous.
You can thank Tony Pasolia for putting those together in the season guide pre-season, and you update them from there. Does a wonderful job. I'm sure I'm not the first person to mention that, as it's nodded out wide towards Chesnick. Brennan trying to prod it forward towards Sawyer, which he did successfully. Now Chesnick looking north. A number of South Melbourne players around him. He did well to help it out wide towards a few who got the ball stuck underneath his feet. Now with Zidius again. He fired that one in board. Didn't really help Valley Chesnick all too much there. Sheen sends it forward.
Chance for South Melbourne now. Long ball forward. Easily mopped up. And yet another throw. Now they're having trouble whipping that ball in. It seems to be swerving away at the last moment. The well-known throw-ins for South Melbourne by Maximilian Mikola. And Dandenong City faithful more than organised there, and there he goes again. It just dies on the trajectory. You would have thought after the third try they'd try something else because it wasn't working. Brennan, good ball, or is it? The ball veers away last minute. Cleared away. Pope didn't get a clearance that he needed, but Brennan's back on it. Ball headed by Spiteri. He's what a bad little player is Spiteri on that wing there. Chance now to change play. They're staying on that right side of the ground. And no doubt in my mind that the players that have come in, Oliver, for obviously the general first team players like Harrison and Sawyer and Barcia and what have you, they're going to want to try and impress the coach and try and tell him that, hey, we belong here as well. So they're probably not a bad situation for the coach to be in this kind of scenario, where he's comfortable, where he's got a big gap on the top and he can afford to do that.
Rolled over towards the left and in front of Kenya Thune out to play. It's a tough one for the likes of Sawyer and Barcia and Jack Painter-Andrews too. Rob Harding's seen plenty of action this season as well. Most of that in a Manningham shirt though, but the point being that we've got some Victorian top flight regulars that aren't starting for South Melbourne, and I suppose that shows the depth that they've got. It's flicked on by Harding, or Harding out there I should say. It's Inglese, I should say, that's on the bench, but he's not seen too much time, but he'll be hoping that that changes. As that's rolled over from Mikola on the overlap. The cutback looked on, but didn't get through to Noel Bernarda. Padaridis. It's over towards Sidious. Chesnick. Dandenong City happy to keep it here with Danny Kim, formerly the Brisbane Roar in the Australian top flight.
He's been a vital player for his side this season. And remember, one of the most memorable wins they had was the great win against Oakley Cannons, going back about 4 or 5 weeks, which you know, saw Lambadaridis and also Atherinos scoring an absolute ripper of a goal.
They've got some good players at their disposal of Dandenong City, and I suppose that Tim Atherinos has been one that's impressed me, and he's on the bench for Dandenong City. As that one's rather sloppily given away. Shouts for handball, and a free kick given here for Dandenong City. Looks as though Damon Iaconis might have fancied taking it quickly, but he elected to wait, and it's rather sloppily done in the end. And the initial composure that was shown by one wasn't shown by Danny Kim, who lays the ball out of play. And it was a rather disappointing end to what should have been a decent opportunity for them. Chesnick. Sidious and Lambadaridis. Here is Danny Kim in a bit of space. Sees it going on halfway. South Melbourne trying to apply the press. Ball through Lambadaridis. Marshall doing there what centre-backs usually don't. Bernarda cleverly let it run. Mikola, chance at the back post. If the delivery was good for Harding. And it was quite the opposite, if we're being honest.
I think he might have been going for that back post and let the ball swing around a bit more, but in the end, wasn't to be. John Hall mopping up easily. Chance now to play out through Lambadaridis. Just not rushing things here, City. Trying to find an opening, and so far we really haven't had much goal mouth action. That's not to say that the game hasn't been entertaining. It's just been more of a midfield battle at the moment as City try and go forward. Ball changed to Xidas. Back to Xidas. He's got Cesnik there. He decides to go back in the middle again to Kim. Kim switches play. Far side. Badaridis, deep ball, and gets the first corner for Dandenong City. And a chance now to try and get some trouble on William Luyuno's goal. He hasn't been tested just yet, the big man. Corner taken. Not the greatest corner. And that'll be a goal kick.
Marshall looking long. Harding. Payos. Out of play it goes. In fact, I stayed alive actually. Like that ball was drifting out, but that stayed in play. It's sent high from Marshall towards Payos. There was never really any opportunity to get to that. Neil Payos, who's played youth football at both Melbourne City and St Troiden in Belgium. Or changing hands a couple of opportunities, or a couple of times there I should say, as it's up towards Brennan. Rolled on across, and South Melbourne can try and move forward again. Well, play by Brennan initially, but the ball forward wasn't his best, and a couple of South Melbourne players were able to give gestures of displeasure.
Just about to,
couldn't find a teammate.
Just about to say that he's probably been one of the better players, and he gives the ball away.
It was a really nice turn, wasn't it? But
yeah,
the ball didn't match it. As Jack Pope has almost set that up onto the grandstand roof.
Maybe we don't really know how the conditions are affecting him there, because it just seems to be that last pass has been wanting from both sides.
It's not been perhaps a lakeside spectacle that we've seen here across various evenings on Friday nights and the like. There's still time for that to change though, as throw in short was intercepted by Marshall towards Brennan. Sent out of play by Jack Webster, who was a former Scunthorpe United apprentice. For South Melbourne, sent down the line. Chesnick almost gave it away. Bernarda got something on it to turn it out of play.
Chesnick seems to need to get into this game a lot more. He's more of a busier player, especially when he was at Port Melbourne, and at the moment he's been a bit quiet. Ball played forward, and dangerous initially, but cleared away to safety.
Yeah, the thing with Valley Chesnick, they started him on the right-hand side, did Nick Tolios and Dandenong City. He's now occupying a spot on the left, so they're trying to shift things around a little bit, trying to find something that works for them, because so far not much has, but it's true for South Melbourne as well. That's sent it towards Bauer, the man he swapped wings with is Andy Brennan. He looks to have a run at the Dandenong City defence, tries to send one in low, and that ball will go the wrong side of the line from a Dandenong City point of view, as they were trying to prevent the corner. They haven't been able to do so, and a South set piece to follow here. And you mentioned before Andy Brennan, who perhaps was left wanting with that forward ball a few minutes ago. That was much better, direct and positive, and he won the corner that he will send in here. Holds one arm aloft, Tries to curl one in. Doesn't beat the first man at the front post. We'll get a second opportunity to deliver here, though. That one also not quite his best, and out of play it goes for a throw. And so Max Mickle is called over again, looking to try and send one in to the middle, and hopefully, for his sake at least, this goes better than the first three.
Yeah, I think it might suit him better from this side of the ground.
Yeah. He wants the wind behind him, which he hasn't really had from the opposite side. As that one's sent in, that's much more dangerous, and it's stayed in play. Interesting decision to try and kill that one out of the sky as it's floated in from Mikkola towards the back post. Dandenong City still haven't fully dealt with this yet, and now they're out of the woods. Had to scramble a little bit at the back there as Lampard looks to try and recycle things. Staying forward there, Marko Jankovic, but he's given it away, and now South Melbourne perhaps short-handed at the back. Switch of play over towards Chesnick, who will try and get there first. He was so well marshalled by Jordan Lampard, who nodded it back to his goalkeeper in Willem Lejeune.
Lejeune mops up easily, and there's some good defending there, as you said, from Lampard. Lejeune unfortunately wastes a clearance, which veers off to his right, and South Melbourne did get away with it. They got the ball back quickly. Now trying to close down. It's very scrappy at the moment. There hasn't been any clear avenues to goal, and a lot of slipping and sliding and falling as South Melbourne now try and go forward. The referee's given the free kick and on Spiteri, and was probably a fair enough too, leaning into him. And you've got Bernardo now to... Mikkola goes all the way back, and not really sure why, because gone from being in the right side of the ground, and rather than play the ball forward, they've gone all the way back to the keeper. Sometimes baffles me that that is the case. I can understand to try and switch play, but they haven't done that. And now City box South Melbourne in. Lampard goes forward. Chance now to try and find a way. And in the end, Bernardo closed down the quick ball given. A chance for Harding. And good defending in the end to get the ball away. And trying to find openings here. Oliver, it looks a lot more dangerous now for South Melbourne with the way they're trying to find openings, especially on those wings.
What they've got to do though is be careful of getting caught out the other way. Bauer in towards Athieu, might break for Chesnick. It's helped back to him by Kenny Athieu. Valley Chesnick trying to work a yard for a cross, which he couldn't do, so he finds Zidius instead. I feel like that's the way that Dandenong City are thinking about trying to catch South Melbourne out. Trying to get them on the break when Esteban Quintas' charges commit too many men forwards. Sent over to the left. Swung in. And almost all the way in. Parried by Lejeune and against the side netting from Valley Chesnick. And Dandenong City might not have too many opportunities that present itself for them. And when they get them, they've got to take them. And Dandenong City's number 13 hasn't done it there.
What a miss, Oliver. That was absolutely jam on toast for Cesnik, and really should have put it away. And the bad mistake there by Leuna. He don't know whether it caught him by surprise, the pace of the ball, but he basically palmed it in front of Cesnik there. He had an open goal and he's hit the size netting. And in the end, very lucky.
I was going to say, I expected the net to ripple, and it did, but just the wrong side of it from a Dandenong City point of view, as it's over towards Brennan, who couldn't get that under his spell, initially at least. Gets back on it here, though. Driving in field, Andy Brennan. Trying for the slide rule pass that didn't quite pay off. Dandenong City with another chance, perhaps. Matthew trying to be central to this move. Over towards Chesnick, who would want to atone for the most recent miss. Looks for a run at Lampard, did well, tried to swing one in, but South Melbourne able to repel. Hasn't been a first half from their side of things that has gone entirely to their script.
Liking the game of James Xidas. He's really done well here on this right-hand side. He's been very composed. The ball in the box to Athu. And easily mocked up there by Leuna. A bit tough for these goalkeepers that's sitting on the bench and not having the game time they would like to try and make their game a little more stable and a lot better. It's a tough gig, no doubt, for a backup keeper, because there's not many games you can play, and in the end it's still 0-0, and that's what matters. Chance for Marshall to play the ball wide. Not a good clearance there, but somehow it's picked up by Pope. Ball played forward. Referee's blown the free kick, and it looks like first yellow card of the day. And it's going out to, well, I think it's Bower. Will Bower. It's a late challenge, and in the end, the referee had no hesitation to give that a free kick. Now, been playing just on over 30 minutes here.
By my reckoning, that's Will Bauer's second yellow card of the campaign, as Lejeune called into action here to send that one forward. He wasn't happy with it, as Pope looked longer. Headed out to play by Giannakopoulos, who is a player highly thought of out of South Australia, formerly of the Comets in NPL South Australia before making the move over. Towering defender. Payos trying to manoeuvre his way down the right. Nicola trying to step in, but it was taken away from him rather quickly. It's a marauding run down the Dandenong City left by Bauer, who in turn has it taken off him by Jack Pope. The game showing signs of opening up a little bit here, as Kim tries to help it forwards. Going as far as Zach Spiteri. Of course, there's a number of former Sharks out there. Zach Spiteri, one of them, Valley Chesnick, another, who were both with the JL Murphy club in 2023. Zach Spiteri with only the one senior appearance in the campaign. Valley Chesnick played in all 27 that the Sharks were involved in the league. As Giannakopoulos sends that one out to play for a throw.
Yeah, he had a good season for Port Melbourne. A bit surprised he left the club, but he's done so, and he's come and joined Nick Tolios here at Dandy City, who he's done exceptionally well with, having won the league last year in NPL2 and now sees his club in the top 6. Great supported club of Dandenong City, supported by predominantly the Croatian community up there in the southeastern suburbs, and they've done quite well, and you must say he's a quality coach, Nick Tolios, and he's had success everywhere he's been, really. He's done really well at Bentley Greens, and before that he promoted Kingston when he was coaching them too. So he's no doubt a man of great talent as South Melbourne go forward. The ball deep, well picked up there by John Hall. He's really hadn't had much trouble at all at them, and easily mopping up that kind of cross for a big man like him. Not sure how long to go. It looks like we've got the clock saying 39 and a half gone there, and we've got 35 or so gone.
I think the scoreboard clock's right, so we'll go with that. I think there's 5 minutes to play as Athieu will try and play it over towards the right hand side. Let's just break in the fourth wall for you. The scoreboard clock just read just over 40 gone, as Bernardo will chase that one down ahead of Webster. He'll move into the box as he got support up with him. Sees the ball in blocked as far as Brennan. He'll look to try and put a cross in himself. And it's helped away by Zidius, who was fouled in the process. There is one more game in the NPL Men's Victoria on tonight. And you speak about Croatian clubs involving Dandenong City. There's another one involved in the Melbourne Knights, and they lead by a goal to nil over the Altona Magic. Of course, all NPL men's and women's Victoria games can be watched on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. What that result means is, or I say result, what that scoreline means, I should say, is that the Melbourne Knights in the live table have moved inside the top 6 at the expense of Dandenong City.
And Coach Ivan Frenich has done well there since taking over.
Isn't that a weird sentence to say? That still doesn't compute in my brain. For so many years it's been player Ivan Franic and Socceroo Ivan Franic, and never coach Ivan Franic. But alas, here we are in 2024 as Giannakopoulos sends that one long. Lampards. Dandenong City pick it back up. Bauer. On the edge of the box, looking to roll it forward for Athieu, and he maybe should have got himself, man, no matter! And Dandenong City have opened the scoring! Damien Iaconis capitalising on a South Melbourne mishap. And Dandenong City are back inside the top 6 and have taken a shock lead away at Lakeside.
Good work there. Iaconis really finishing well, and in the end, I don't know about the defending there. It was a bit loose for a minute there, and Dandenong have punished South Melbourne at a very crucial time in the game.
Dandenong City, number 14, Damien Iaconis. South Melbourne 0, Dandenong City 1.
And now South Melbourne at home, which is a rare occurrence, are 1-0 down.
So Dandenong City, in their quest for a first ever league away win at South Melbourne, have a lead heading in towards half-time. And I think you've put it rather more politely than Esteban Quintas might when reviewing that goal at half-time. I don't think he'll be as lenient with his word choice. A chance for South Melbourne to get it right back, though, with a corner.
Yeah. And now, South Melbourne, can they get an equaliser before half-time? And ball deep in the box, almost there. And cleared away just in the nick of time. Brennan, and great save there by Hall. Some great work there by Brennan, and he's still got the ball. Still there. And deep in the box. And that was a swing and a miss there. Looked like might have been Marshall.
With all respect to Jake Marshall, as wonderful a player as he is, I don't think if you're South Melbourne, he's the player you want the ball falling to.
But Brennan, he's probably been South Melbourne's best player.
Yeah.
He's done quite well, but John Hall prevented the equaliser just before half-time.
To be honest, I think he was bailed out by a player in front of him. For my eyes, and they're not the best, I thought there was a Dandenong City defender in front that had blocked it and he wasn't called into action. I might be wrong. As Payos went with a bit of footwork, didn't work out for him. A few was fouled. And there's a bit going on after the whistle. Max Mikula is being hurled away by Max Hanlon. And there might be a bit of paperwork for the referee to do here. The assistant referee has been called away from his post. And I fancy we might see a couple of cards at least here.
And looking at that replay, you were right. The defender did clear it just in the nick of time in front of John Hall.
Yes. Mikula was initially beckoned away. It'll be interesting to see what happens, if anything, here. Doesn't look as though there's any more writing for the referee to do in the notebook, which is somewhat surprising given the scuffle that went on. As the resulting free kick is clipped down the line. As we move into added time at the end of the first half.
Couldn't be too much out of time, to be honest with you. We haven't had that many stoppages. But South Melbourne now have it all to do. There's plenty of time, no doubt, for both sides. But just about to referee allows play on. Cleared away. The wind blowing really strongly here at Lakeside Oval. And tell you what, it's got to be one of the coldest days of the year, no doubt. In my mind, it's probably the coldest it's been since I've commentated. No doubt in my mind. And when you really think 3 months earlier, we're probably in our shorts. As South Melbourne try and go for something special just before half time. And Marshall looking at bombing the ball into the box. And that he does. And a throw-in wasted away there.
It's not been the best half that an Esteban Quintas side has produced. Still time for his team to turn it round, but the hairdryer might be brought out at half-time to allow for that, perhaps, as Phil Bauer helps buy his team a throw. Check of the watch from Max Hanlon. Few. As the visitors rather sloppily give it away. Ball over towards the left, and Andy Brennan to receive. Came back from an offside position. And Max Hanlon has seen enough. And I dare say the South Melbourne changing room at half-time might not be the quietest place or the most pleasant if you're a South Melbourne player. They've put together some pretty play through the middle third that hasn't really amounted to much further forward. But it was play further back that caused their own downfall. South Melbourne trying to play their way out of trouble and then played into trouble. Damien Iaconis was able to slot the ball home to break the deadlock. And at half-time here at Lakeside Stadium, it is South Melbourne 0, Dandenong City 1. Oliver Walker-Peel and Arthur Akratides here with you. We'll be back shortly. Oh, I'm cold. I'm cold. All the time.
So yeah, you can even on the
I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, it's probably good on consciously. Yeah, you were trying to get to it as well, off as well. I'll just tape it up. What are you doing? I'll just tape it so you can't even. So I'll just tape the switch. Why are you doing that? So you can't turn it off. Oh, I can leave it on. I didn't know you wanted me to. Oh yeah.
All the knee injuries and
Welcome back to Lakeside Stadium. Commentary to resume in 5 seconds. And welcome back to Lakeside Stadium, where Dandenong City lead by 1-0, and as such, Esteban Quintas is to ring the changes. Harrison Sawyer, one of 3 set to make their way on at the break. Lucas Inglese and Mario Barcia are part of a triple change that Esteban Quintas will make at the half-time interval, as Dandenong City are going through some final instructions perhaps, and stretches and whatever else, and it's a bit more of a sterner side of the pitch from a South Melbourne point of view. Noel Bernarda is one of the 3 withdrawn.
You'd have to think that that might have been pre-planned also.
In fact, no, he's not. Noel Bernarda is out there. I just assumed that it would be like for like. So, just trying to work out who the 3 that have come off are.
I think he's taken Brennan off.
I didn't see Bernarda off. So Bernarda's there. Brennan is off, which is...
It's a bit weird because he was one of their better players.
Rather surprising, as we'll complete the changes for you when we get a moment. Bernarda is still out there, so it's not exactly like for like. Bernarda is on the left as that one's flicked on towards him. Nodded down. Inglese! That would have been perfect for the 3 of them, really. They were all getting involved right from the off. But Lucas Inglese firing wide.
What a chance there.
I don't see Rob Harding out there. I think he's another one who's come off. So there's 2 of the 3.
Might be Pios.
Yeah, Emil Payos it is. So there's the 3 for you. Payos, Harding and Brennan, the 3 withdrawn. Lucas Inglese, Sawyer, and also Mario Barcia on as South Melbourne win another corner. And immediately at the start of this second half, this is miles better.
Absolutely better, and a great chance, as you said there, and almost finding an opening straight away, and you can't ask for more than that. In South Melbourne now, it's almost like they've flicked the switch, trying to find an opening here, and a chance.
In fact, Payos is out there. It's Max Mikkola. Payos is taking this corner, swung in towards Sawyer. So I didn't see Payos out there either. I couldn't see the board if there is one, so this is why it takes a little bit of time. It's all the way over on the other side of the pitch if there is one. I'm not sure if there is, but Mikkola is the 3rd player off and not Emil Payos. So Payos is over to take this corner. We'll correct the 3 changes.
We got 2 right.
Get a moment.
We got 2 right.
Well, I initially thought that Bernarda had gone off, but I'd missed him. He's still out there, so maybe 1. I'm not a budding 4th official, which is a positive. As Payos will try and float this one in, and that hits the side netting. And so, to crystal clear confirm this for you. Lucas Inglese, Barcia and Sawyer definitely on. The 3 off. We may as well say we believe, but it's Mikkola who's gone off. Brennan, likewise. And Rob Harding the 3rd. Will caught up then? Sounds about right. Apologies for the miscommunication.
Someone on the ground now, and not sure what's going on there.
It's Kenny Athieu who's down, with a member of Dandenong City's medical staff attending to him.
He's really tussled away, but really hasn't had much success.
I'm not sure he'd be too bothered with that if the result is this. Of course, it's not a result as we stand, of course, but if this was to become a result, I'm not sure that Kenny Athieu would be too bothered about not really being involved all that much. He's been rather quiet in comparison to what we usually know of him.
South Melbourne now trying to change play. Long ball forward to no one in particular. But winning again, playing the ball wide. Payos. Spiteri, sorry. It's a good ball in!
And that's 1-1! What a tremendous goal!
And looks like there could be an injury on top of that. And South Melbourne equalise. Like we said early on, Oliver, what a great finish.
How good was that from Emil Payos down the right? Brilliant ball in for Sawyer. And I suppose if you're South Melbourne, that's the way to play it. When you've got Harrison Sawyer in the middle, just stick it on his head and he might be able to make something work for you. But excellently done by Emil Payos down the right. It's one each. And Harrison Sawyer with league goal number 15 of the season, 39 in his career in this league. And this game has been completely flipped in an instant.
Scorer for South Melbourne FC, number 9, Harrison Sawyer. South Melbourne 1, Dandenong City 1.
And all the talk going into the break was how off-colour South Melbourne had been and how Dandenong City had a shock lead. I don't think it's too harsh on Dandenong City to say that, given what was going into this game. As over to cover Marko Jankovic.
I'll tell you what, Oliver, geez, Hall really was nowhere near that ball. And Sawyer just absolutely made no mistake. And Hall had no hope in the end. He was behind the ball when Sawyer had headed it. So there was never a chance of him saving it.
But for a budding centre forward, I suppose on the flip side of that, it was a really clever run, though, from Harrison Sawyer. To run across him and get his head to the ball first. To drift in front of the goalkeeper and then get his head to it. There'd be few centre forwards, I think, in this league that would have the wherewithal to get across. Harrison Sawyer did. And when you make intelligent runs like that, there's quite often a prize on the end of it. As the man we speak of flicks it on.
What a great cross. Sensational cross for that goal.
Matthew commits a foul. And South Melbourne will get it down and play quickly. Ball forward up towards Sawyer, who has injected some life into this South Melbourne team. Tries to provide the press. Long ball forward though towards Matthew, who hit the floor. Dandenong City players thought that he was fouled. Referee thought otherwise. Chesnick trying to get away from Barcia. As Dandenong City looked for some composure, the ball across was intended for Bauer. Never got there. And Badaridis with poise and now with Giannakopoulos. And in the space of just over 5 minutes in this second half, this game has a completely different complexion about it.
Trying to play the ball back to Hall. And I don't think he'd be too happy about that goal. It's never easy for a goalkeeper, but you've got to try and get that fist in front to try and parry that ball. And in the end, he had no hope whatsoever. Sawyer doing absolutely brilliant. And a chance again for that big man again. He holds the ball up really well. Deep ball. And in the end, wishful thinking there by Inglese. Couldn't get the depth of the pass that he needed. It's got obviously the wind to contend with. Changing the ball from one side of the ground to the other, especially against the wind, is always going to be a bit tough.
We were saying earlier on we weren't too sure whether the wind was blowing left or right. It's for sure now that the wind will aid you from the broadcast side. From Dandenong City's left or South Melbourne's right. On the other side of the ground, it's been much harder to work with, as we saw in the first half, with some Max Mikkeler throw attempts. The one he had more success with was the one he took from this side, as opposed to the 3 from the other end. Sawyer, who will immediately try and run in behind. The ball didn't quite oblige for him. It was a good idea, though, from Emil Payos. You could see it coming a mile off. What South Melbourne were going to try and do that. And for someone of his stature, Harrison Sawyer, he's certainly not slow. There's certainly of his size, some of his size who are. He's not. He can hurt you in the air and he can hurt you in behind as well. As Lambada receives from Matthew, got away from the pressure and fizz one out wide towards Bauer, who has an option in Giannakopoulos on the overlap, feeds him, floating towards the back post, and not his best delivery.
Yeah, you've got to say that it's going to be an interesting final series because he is here for the final series this time round, and the last 2 seasons he hasn't been. He left just before the final series 2 years ago when the Cannons beat South Melbourne in the final, and last year he was not here either. But now with him being here, there is no doubt in my mind it'll be a different kettle of fish, a tougher proposition to beat South Melbourne when he's on song, and especially with that other person who has been exceptional for the last 3 seasons, Harvey Lopez in goal for South Melbourne. Definitely one of the main reasons why South Melbourne is top of the table. Even when they're not playing well, they have him to save them. Payos does well to win the ball.
Just quickly going around the grounds, Dandenong City have been handed a reprieve by Altona, who have drawn that game level 1 apiece. So Dandenong City, despite conceding here, are still inside the top 6. As Sawyer looks to try and work his way away from Bereshevic. Ball kept alive by Spiteri. Pope with some close control. As Barcia looks to lift one over the top, and John Hall able to deal with that.
All done well there.
Webster. We'll look for Chesnick, who couldn't keep that one alive as much as he tried.
There's a lot of important games this week, Oliver, and no doubt that the amount of rain that we've had here in Melbourne in the last week might also affect the quality of the grounds, and certainly not the case here. The ground's in immaculate condition. As South Melbourne try and stretch the play. Deep ball in the middle and not really dealt with properly. Gain. And a chance now for South Melbourne. Good ball forward. Pope couldn't hold that ball in. And Dandy City throw. Should this stay like this, Oliver, it's won't be a bad result for Dandenong.
Marshall was able to play that. Spiteri, back with last year's gold medalist in this league. As Webster tries to help it forward, wind growing stronger. Forward into the path of Jankovic, but he won't break sweat really to try and get there. Lejeune had elected to keep that one in when he maybe could have let it run. Ball out of play. Just on Marko Jankovic. He's the son of a former Real Madrid player in Milan. Played 38 games in the league for them. There's not too many players who can say that they're a son of a former Real Madrid player, but Marko Jankovic can, as that one goes out of play. for a South Melbourne goal kick.
Quite unique circumstance. He's a good little player, though. He's Marko Jankovic. He's done well for South Melbourne this season. Probably just put the mozzie on him because he just lost the ball. But he got the throw.
Dare we say it, another former Bentley player. Of course, most of the former Bentley players are playing for Dandenong City tonight, but of course, Nick Tolios had him before Jankovic went to South Melbourne, and he, of course, departed the Bentley Greens. Chesnick trying to work it in board for Damien Iaconis, the Dandenong City goal scorer. Scoring his 36th career goal in the Victorian top flight earlier in the piece. Webster towards Bauer, shouts for handball. Has gone out of play. Will Bauer, it's worth a mention, he's on a yellow card, so wouldn't want to do anything too untoward. Payos back for Spiteri, who gave something for Payos to have a look at, was third in the race to the ball though. Sawyer back for Zach Spiteri.
They look very similar, Spiteri and Payos. Hence the mix-up earlier on.
Payos playing slightly further forward, but on the same side. It's not quite a commentator's nightmare, but I suppose not too far off, as Lambadaridis tried to contest it, trying to turn away Bernarda. And South Melbourne looking much more assured than they did before the break. In the 15 minutes that has followed it. As Lambadaridis looks forward, Iaconis in a bit of space, looking to try and roll one behind, but South Melbourne defence standing tall. Barcia lost it though. Here's Danny Kim. Bauer inside the box, trying to pull one back. Spiteri will keep that in and will play South Melbourne out of trouble. Set down the line. Here's Harrison Sawyer. Dangerous proposition from a Dandenong City point of view. He tries to stretch Berishovic. Sawyer to the byline, pulls it back only as far as Webster, who helps away. Not much by way of support from a South Melbourne perspective in the middle, particularly considering that Bernarda had slipped. As that one sent in towards an unmarked Pope, looking for his first South Melbourne league goal. That wasn't really going to test John Hall though.
It's like a freight train trying to go forward and almost cut in and take a shot, but was well shielded and asked to go wide, and in the end it was a bit tough for him. And a free kick there to Pope, who's actually done quite well this half. He's a bit quiet early on in the game, but he's definitely been better this second half, as the whole South Melbourne team.
Yeah, he put in a string of good performances at the level below for the Eastern Lions earlier this year. Stood out on a number of occasions for them, and that's what prompted Esteban Quintas and co to snaffle him up. That one's thrown in. Bernarda had a look at it. Of course, given his Argentinian lineage, he'd be pretty happy with what's been going on in the world of football on the pitch from an Argentinian point of view, with the Copa America triumph over Colombia. Of course, he would share that joy with Esteban Quintas as well, as that will work for Pope. And South Melbourne surrender possession. Here's Bauer, and now Kenny Athieu inside the box. Dragged a would-be shot that might work as a pass. Bauer. That one's out of play.
Good defending in the end.
Giannakopoulos take the throw. Stay with Giannakopoulos, who had it taken away from him by Payos. Kim to nod forwards. Lovely turn from Pope. Now with Sawyer, who was dealt a tough task, even tougher given that he was being fouled in the process of trying to get rid of the ball. There's a few affiliated with Dandenong City that saw nothing wrong with it.
Switch of play. South Melbourne again trying to stretch Dandenong City. And ball in the box. Good defending in the end to get the ball away. Cleared to safety. Matthew. Free kick given. Late challenge. Bit of a stretch behind the ball. And a yellow card's come out. Okay. And looks like it's come out to Lampard. Unfortunately for him, a little bit late. He's had a serviceable game though, has Lampard.
Had a bit more to do in the first half, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was tested down the right a couple of times, but played well. That one. Referee not a fan of there though. With Danny Kim. Help it back for Zidius, who himself has been impressive. Kim from deep. Looks for the switch of play. Matthew controlling well. Looks to roll on in behind. Intelligent ball. It's Will Bauer across the face. And how well defended. Jake Marshall. Marshall by name. And marshalling in nature to keep Dandenong City away. And the visitors have to settle for a corner. When if not for his intervention, it could have been more.
Great defending there.
And so they will have to settle for only a corner. Dandenong City. Which is sent in. Sawyer doing the defensive duties, not fully dealt with. As it's punched away by Lejeune. Who was a little bit less assured there than he maybe could have been, but did the job regardless. Towards the edge of the box. Payos. Play allowed to Ron. Kim trying to help it over the top. And South Melbourne hook it away. Matthew over towards the right, only as far as Lampard, who definitively sinks his boot into it. Ball out of play, and a South Melbourne change. And that board is very hard to read, and that's why it's caught us out. I think I got a glimpse of it though. And the man we've just sung the praises of is off. Jordan Lampard has had his spot taken by Jack Painter-Andrews. And I will say that the yellow lettering is probably what got me there, I will say.
Yeah, probably a wise move. Don't want to lose a player with the second yellow card. And there's we've got about 23 odd minutes left of normal time. So probably a good time to change things up a bit. But it's been an exciting second half. South Melbourne initially being very dominant, but City has come back and been very much unlucky not to have taken the lead again. Some good defending by Marshall. And, Andrews plays the ball. Payos flicks the ball on, but to no one in particular. And it looks like Spiteri's swap positions to left side. As Andrews has gone right back.
Painter-Andrews in the 27, dare I sound like a broken record, but another former Bentley Green. Jack Painter-Andrews. There's a few who know what Kingston Heath is like. Bauer intercepted There's that one sent forward. Harrison Sawyer, South's marksman, to try and deal with it. Good work by Giannakopoulos, who was being bellowed at by Hall to get rid of it. Elected to keep it. He's worked his way in and out of a phone box to send that one out of play. The first real involvement for Jack Painter-Andrews, who I will assure you is not Max Mikkeler, though I might deploy the same tactics here.
He's not too bad. He's done... he hasn't been too bad with his throws either.
This one going long. Wind at his back. Sent in. Hall punching, still in no man's land. Ball out of bounds, the overhead kick would have been special. I'm not sure I knew that Noel Bernardo had that in his locker. But by the same token, I shouldn't be surprised.
And I'll tell you what.
He's capable of spectacular, isn't he?
John Hall was at the right place at the right time, because it was well hit in the end.
Dandenong City look to throw their own counter punch. Iaconis. That one's floated in towards Kenny Few, who got a chest to it, and Bauer over the top. South Melbourne have got to be wary, because Dandenong City are still presenting opportunities, and it looks like they're making a change of their own here. That we'll see Brad Plant come on for the goal scorer in Iaconis. Brad Plant's off the back of 2 goals for Dandenong City in their last league game against Hume. He scored both that Dandenong City scored that night in the southeast of Melbourne. And they're the only 2 he's scored at this level so far this season and in his career.
Probably unlucky not to start the game, really.
And probably unlucky not to get more of a run at it this year. This is only appearance number 4 in the league. So the goals would have done his case absolutely no harm. As Barcia locates Emil Payos. Run down the inside right channel came from Painter-Andrews. First attempt didn't work, the second one did. First time in towards the middle. Away by Webster. As far as Emil Payos, who's away from one. Tried to dink one, and that's meat and drink for John Hall.
Did well, Payos. He's been impressive this half. And in the end, couldn't get through Hall, who has had a bit more to do this half, other than pick up the ball out of the back of his neck early on in this half. And the slip there gives City a free kick. Chance to go forward now. Trying to chase the game. Giannakopoulos has done well also on this left-hand side. Matthew, challenge for the ball. Chance to go forward, but well defended. Payos, ball still in play. And Hall does the right thing and mops up that ball. He was there just in case he needed to head of the ball outside his box, but he rightly hung back and got that ball. And as you could see, the ball's swerving right side of the ground there to the grandstand, and very difficult to try and shield it. Again headed away by Marshall. Now a chance going forward. Plant plays it wide, and in the end the corner. And Dandenong City have a chance now to try and manufacture something here. Bodies in the box there. No doubt some anxious moments for South Melbourne in this second half also. As time ticks away. Corner ball. Referees having a chat to Webster and Athieu. Curling ball. Across the back post, the shots, and in the end, it is another corner.
I wonder if they'll have more issues taking this Dandenong City from this side, from the other, given the wind, but Clancy is the man standing over this. The option short is Lambadarides if he wants. And he'll send it in instead towards the front post, and rather commanding from Lejeune, who was fouled. And South Melbourne are perhaps asking the referee for a stronger punishment than a free kick, after they feel their goalkeeper was collected too strongly. Mentioned earlier on, well, we've got a slight break in play, that Dandenong City are looking for their first ever league win over South Melbourne in their history. The only time pre-NPL era that they've been in the same step of football was 1960, where in the 1960 Victorian season they were in the top flight, but it was regionalised at that point. The top flights of Victorian football, they did north and south by that point. South Melbourne were north, Dandenong City was south, and so never played each other. And from that point on, they've not seen each other too often in the league, hence why Dandenong City haven't had too many opportunities to notch up a league win, but first would still be some milestone for them as Zidius plays out of play for a throw.
Yeah, Dandenong City back in the day, very much a British team, British immigrants, and even when I was playing against them, they were very much, and then they were basically bought out by what it seemed like it was Chelsea. A lot of the people from Chelsea, the Croatians that were at Chelsea Football Club down in the bay there, and they've created South Melbourne now trying to go forward. Twisting and turning. And the ball done very well to get the ball away there, City. Athieu trying to find a way, and this wind really swirling. And a free kick to South Melbourne. As I was saying, Oliver, they used to be very much a British club. A lot of British expats used to play for the club. Great bunch of blokes back in the day, I remember. But it's become a better club now with, good facilities and great people run the club. And they're in a position now where they're playing in the top flight of Victorian football.
Free kick for South Melbourne inside the final 15 of the 90. Headed won by Pope. Away by Zidius. Now to play from Marko Jankovic. In terms of NPL era matches, by the way, between these two, 6 games played, 4 wins for South, a win and a draw. Or 1 win for Dandenong City, I should say, that came at Frank Holohan. In terms of the game earlier this season, it was a 4-0 success for South Melbourne, including a hat-trick to Harrison Sawyer, who has also found himself on the score sheet today, scoring home and away against Dandenong City in 2024. There's a throw for the hosts down the line towards Bernarda. And out to play it goes for a throw. So a throw for the visitors. There's another ball on the pitch that Jack Webster will get rid of. Now we can get back underway. Chesnick down the line towards Athieu. Bauer, the only player in white ahead of him, but player in blue coming across to cover. And Help that one out of play. It's Painter Andrews. Bauer. Plant robbed of it. Strong challenge, all fair. Bernardo looked for the back flick. Barcia went in again. Plant picking up the pieces. Looking to try and skip away. A Dandenong City player down off the ball. And the Dandenong City staff have vacated the bench. This is a bit baseball-esque. The bench has emptied. And I reckon Max Hanlon's ear will get chewed off here with all that they'd want to say. There's a number of Dandenong City players around the officials, and very rarely do you see coaches vacate the technical area. And Max Hanlon has got the job of trying to restore order here. And there's been a couple of occasions where this game has threatened to boil over, and this is maybe the climax of that. Now Bernardo in conversation with somebody. Athieu over with the referee alongside Jack Pope. Now Max Hanlon in conversation with one of the assistant referees. Both of the assistant referees are there present. I wonder what they'll go with here. Looks as though Max Hanlon was reaching for his pocket. The shouts of send him off from somewhere. Barcia's gone over. Big moment this, perhaps. Bit of unrest here at Lakeside. And that might be that. I think it was in the direction of Mario Barcia. That yellow card. I'm not sure that this is all dealt with yet. It might be now. Max Hanlon had gone over to the Dandenong City bench and he was trying to iron out all the creases. And after all of that, there's a Dandenong City free kick to follow. And I will say that Max Hanlon has done a wonderful job at sorting all of that out, diffusing the situation so well.
A little bit of help there from James Longoya.
That one's floated in. Quite full for Webster. Painter Andrews trying to help it away. Kim. There's Dandenong City have it on their right hand side. Painter Andrews out of play.
Chance now. Melbourne City haven't taken a backward step here. They want the 3 points here.
It was good work from both assistant referees there, in fairness. John White and James Langoa are assistant referees. Athieu has the header, and it's saved by Lejeune. Zaire is our fourth official to complete the team. Sent down the line. Chesnick with Bernardo for company. It was good work by Noel Bernardo to help win it back. James Idiot seeing fit to just send it out of play. Rain falling here at Lakeside. It's thrown in. Pope trying to flick it on. Ball all the way back with John Hall, who will elect to play first time. That one out of play for another South Melbourne throw. And we referenced the game that took place in 2017, didn't we? The cup game that was a late show here at Lakeside. I wonder if we're on for the same again here. The game, delicately poised, as it was 7 years ago. Even though South Melbourne are in a better position at this point in the game than they were in that one.
No, well,
if you remember.
4-1 down or 3-1 down?
At one point they were in the midst of a deficit, and they managed to turn it all the way around.
They won 5-4 in the end, didn't they?
They certainly did. As Pope looks forwards, Kim in the road. South have it back. Pass intended for Pope, didn't get there. Chesnick over for Bauer and Lambadarides, and Bauer set to get there first before the byline. Sent in. South Melbourne cannot get out here. Oh, brilliant play by Payos, who immediately looked forward. It was a skillful nutmeg.
He's had a great game, Payos.
Particularly in the second half. I suppose that all of South Melbourne's charges in the first half were quiet, but in the second half he has really lifted as Sawyer flicks on towards Pope. And out of play, who off? The officials team confer, and Jack Webster. Would have been only a short conferring, but there was a look across, and the corner flag went to, or the, I should say the assistant referee's flag went to the corner, and the corner flag is now in the vicinity of Emil Payos, who will try and float this in. Goes in towards the middle, headed away as far as Pope, who didn't get enough on it, and smartly watching it run Danny Kim.
We've got
changes.
Yep. 4 minutes left of normal time, and trying to see whether we can.
It's a double switch.
Change, yep.
Chesnick and Bauer are off. In terms of the players coming on,
looks like
I would hazard a guess at Brady Quinn.
Yeah, no, it's Brady Quinn, yep. And it looks like
I believe Tim Atherinos, but we'll confirm in a minute. And Badarides over towards the right. And a free kick for Dandenong City. It is Tim Atherinos. And it's a little bit of a surprise that we've not seen him earlier with the game on the line. The former Melbourne Victory starlet. Made one senior appearance in the Australia Cup for them that came against Newcastle in a 3-2 Australia Cup defeat, as Webster takes it quickly, trying to catch South Melbourne out. It's Plant! It's in! Remarkable! And Brad Plant sends those Dandenong City staff crazy! And he might well have helped Dandenong City on their way to a first away league win over South. They are right on the verge of that now.
what a great finish that was. Great ball, and again the defensive line for South Melbourne really should have done better with that.
And the former Scarborough athletic man off the bench, on the score sheets for the second weekend in a row. On Friday night, he scored twice in a losing cause. He might well have scored the winner here. There is still time, though, for South Melbourne to correct that.
What a basic pass, too. I mean, it was that much room that there was an absolute gaping hole in that defensive line, and it was an easy finish in the end.
Ball down the line towards Sawyer, who will win a corner. And Arthur, it's a great point you raised, and it was one I was about to raise. The South Melbourne defence completely fell asleep.
You wouldn't be happy with that. Looking at it on the replay, I was just a basic pass because there was so much room on that right-hand side.
And it's 2 goals that South Melbourne have conceded that Esteban Quintas won't be happy about. Payoffs in towards the middle. Dandenong City aren't there yet, as it's lofted high in towards the middle. Flick on towards Sawyer, who has 3 Dandenong City players around him. Gets it to Payoffs, and it's claimed by John Hall, who would be wise to pump the brakes. As Dandenong City have got a player down, and the Clarendon corner immediately voiced their displeasure as a member of the medical staff is called for.
2-1, and you'd have to say, look, overall they've been really worthy of being 2-1 up. They have played some good football. Initially, South Melbourne, the first 20 or so minutes, was the better team in this second half, but Dandenong City have really made it tough for South Melbourne, and in the end, that finish was absolute class and worth every bit of their 2-1 at the moment. In South Melbourne, while we're talking here, have only got a handful of minutes to try and rescue this.
And they've made a change in amongst all that as well. Jack Pope has been withdrawn, and Mac Hilson has just been brought off the bench for his 3rd league appearance of the campaign. Through the under-23s, he's played most of the year there, but now playing a level up. Free kick on the way. And it is a Dandenong City free kick, as we are now beyond the 90 and into added time. Webster towards Plant. This has already worked once before. Plant not with a direct avenue to goal this time. Plays the ball back in towards Athieu as South try and scramble clear. Inglese back the other way from Kim. It's sent down the line and out of play. And precious seconds tick away, and South Melbourne are staring down the barrel. It's not a defeat that would harm them too much if that is to be what eventuates. They are still well on top of the NPL Men's Victoria table and have 1.5 hands on the first bit of silverware that they could win this year. Of course, it's not the one they want, as it's nodded forward towards Plant. Forward by Spiteri, back by Lambadaridis, as South Melbourne try and work something out. High ball in the direction of Sawyer. High by Berishovic. Bernarda down the line for Hilson, who will try and work it central. Miscued clearance from Giannakopoulos. Whistle goes. Dandenong City free kick. And Jack Webster will be in absolutely no rush.
And he's probably been one of the best players also in this Dandenong City team. He's marshalled the troops very well, and it was his ball that made that second goal possible. Still haven't been shown, and we're going to be about to be shown how long to go here.
I think we must have missed
4
it with
minutes,
the,
I think.
with the board from this side of things. It is quite small, so apologies that
I think it said 4 minutes.
Pick it up. Was it 4? Well, if it is, we're through the majority of that, and South Melbourne, knowing that, will try and hurl this one in. Jack Painter-Andrews tasked with a long throw. Hurled in. As Dandenong City try and deal with it. Inglese. Painter-Andrews high in the direction of Hilson. As it's played back. Dangerous. Here's a chance. Tim Atherinos. Only Lejeune in his way, and he keeps him out. What a telling save it could be. And it sparks South Melbourne forward. Lucas Inglese riding one challenge. Trying to send one down the line. Here's Mac Hilson. Has to try and float it in over the head of Sawyer, who slips. Away by Athieu. Towards Sawyer again, who nods across. First time! And Hall somehow denies Payos what would have been a late equaliser. South Melbourne wants a penalty and are rather bemused. Or maybe a goal kick, perhaps. They don't get either decision. And it's all happening. Dandenong City, in the meantime, are going to their bench. As they will make a late change. George Lambadarides is the player who is coming off. And 2 minutes is the call from down below. So that must be how long we've got left. As there's whistles from the Dandenong City contingent. It's sent away.
Chance now. City pushing everything forward. Can't be too much longer left on the clock.
It's Lukman Hassani, the player who's come on in number 15 for Dandenong City, who took the place of Lambadarides. Atherinos. Play on according to the referee. And John Hall wants Danny Kim to take this to the corner. Payos denied him the opportunity. Up long towards Sawyer. The ball bobbled. Sent away by Giannakopoulos. Willem Lejeune has no other option than to send this long and hope that South Melbourne have got long enough. As it's flicked on by Bernarda. First time by Sawyer towards Payos. Well defended by Atherinos. He's not usually tasked with doing this, but he's done that well. Well played in board by Giannakopoulos. Turn around the corner by Plant. Marshall had to be good and had to be wary of Athieu. And there's the full-time whistle. Listen to what it means
here, like
to that Dandenong City team.
Dandenong City 2.
And this is a statement of intent. Coming away to the Premiers-elect and taking away all 3 points. Not even the most optimistic of Dandenong City fans could have seen this coming. And that stranglehold on a place in the top 6 has got even stronger for Nick Tolios' charges. Full time from Lakeside Stadium. South Melbourne 1, Dandenong City 2. Arthur Akratides, make sense of that.
I'll tell you what, they deserve it. I mean, let's be fanicum about the result. It's 100% deserved. They've played a great last 20 minutes, and in the end, that finish was absolute class there to make it 2-1. And as you said, he scored 3 goals coming off the bench in the last 2 weeks. You'd just about say he's almost worth a start next week, surely. But look, Nick Tolios, got to take your hat off to him. His changes were right on the money, and ultimately South Melbourne lose at home again for the second time in the last 3 weeks. The last one being against the Oakley Cannons. But as you said, there's 3 games remaining, and if they win one of those, pretty much will secure a top spot and obviously the double chance. Well done to the boys of Dandenong City, and thoroughly deserved 2-1 win, Oliver. I'm not surprised, because they have been a team on the rise.
And this might be their greatest evening of the season. 2-1 winners over South Melbourne at Dandenong City. And Nick Tolios and his team can celebrate that one around the grounds just as we leave you be. It was a 2-1 win for the Melbourne Knights over Altona. So a couple of 2-1 wins, but I'm sure this one more surprising than the other one in the west of Melbourne in sunshine. From other Acratides and myself, Oliver Walker-Peel, from the rest of the crew, in this very, very cold part of Melbourne at Lakeside Stadium, we will bid you farewell. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'm sure if you're a Dandenong City fan, you won't need me to tell you to do that. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now.